Hi, another break from battle recordings. This time I would like to introduce you to the last commander who was awakened. He's quite a sleeper, I must admit, but it does not matter. I would like to introduce you to Feis, septon of the Faith of the Seven. I'll talk a little about its history, its skill set, and also why I think making it over 2-star awakening is a waste of resources and time. I invite you to watch this material. Feis is a septon, i.e., a member of the Faith of the Seven Church. However, before he became one, he was just the eldest son of impoverished nobility. He gave up his lordship in favor of an ascetic life as a septon who taught others. He presides over ceremonies such as weddings. In Faith of the Seven, he earned the favor of other septons with his ruthlessness towards heretics. For some reason, I would see him with the holy book in his hand next to the burning pyre of burnt offerings, although I think I've watched some weird movies. Feis is an infantry commander. His statistics therefore focus on it, and more specifically on attack and defense. These are not outstanding values, only 30% of the gold quality. Additionally, as is typical of a former nobleman, he is also knowledgeable in finance. 50% gold production sounds good until we realize one thing. Increasing production does not mean that we will exceed the gold limit in the territory. We will simply reach this limit faster. This has its advantages for people who fight for every golden dragon, but let's be honest, 3 gathering points and the limit has been reached. It can be increased by building mins, but at the expense of field hospitals, i.e., the value of his 3rd or 1st commander's skill is marginal. However, the guardsman's skills are different. His active skill eliminates the characteristics of targets within the circle, dealing additional damage to them. Good counter against Enzo, who gains traits as he loses health. In fact, not only against Enzo, but every commander who gains something during the battle. It does not affect permanent bonuses provided upon entering combat. Passive skills focus on defense. Increasing your defense every time your opponent uses a skill is great because there is no upper limit, only a few seconds. But if used well, he can rack up over 20k defense in a normal fight, which is a really solid value. Normal attacks will then only tickle him. Increasing the resistance by 20% does not mean that the resistance will be increased. Adds 20% to the base value, does not increase the base value by 20%. This is a difference worth remembering for the future. But what exactly is resistance? This is a passive statistic that indicates the percentage chance to reduce the effects of stun, paralysis, and silence. Personally, I don't use this statistic because I would only win fights with favorable RNG, and this is a treacherous friendship. The guardsman's last skill is, as always, passive, increasing strategy by 150 points. Strategy increases the impact of skills, i.e., the more strategies, the greater the damage, the stronger the healing, and the like. Commanders with high strategy but lower starting skill damage end up being stronger and dealing more damage. You can see it for yourself by watching the reports. But most importantly, where are these skills used? Well, rebel leaders, training ground, and Weirwood. Maybe in the future there will be more places where they will be used, but it is worth knowing these skills for the rebel leaders themselves. Okay, but what about the RTS game mode? Here, which will probably come as no surprise, it's average. Adds 120% to infantry's attack, defense, and health, similar to the rest of the elite commanders. These are not huge values, but if we have no other alternative, it can always be added to the composition. The same goes for his rage ability. Increases infantry health by 12% for 5 seconds. It doesn't sound very convincing, but let me remind you that this is one of the first commanders we received for free when clearing the Weirwood stages. Let's get to the point. Awakening and Synergy. From the awakening levels, we get a boost to the attack, defense, and health of infantry, as well as stone production. I don't know where this stone came from in this list, but it is. At the 2nd level of awakening, we receive a 1-star commander bond boost, and at this level I will personally stop. Why, the 60% base stat increase we get at level 3 is of little use if the commander is not used in battles, and he probably won't. And there is a reason for this. His awakening skill increases infantry's health by 3% with each attack made against a weak point. Yes, Feis needs weakness synergy, and in addition, instead of buffing units' attack, it buffs their health. The base attack of infantry is the lowest of all units. Infantry, however, have the highest durability, something for something. However, the weakness synergy is based on constantly attacking one enemy line and additionally increases the damage dealt to it. The only time I would use Feis and weakness synergy is if I have no other options at all. This synergy requires 2 commanders available for Black Diamonds or from events, namely Jaime Lannister and Latts Carin. If you are a F2P player, you actually have few options to enhance this synergy. However, if you have other, more interesting options, I strongly advise you to use them, especially since infantry has another synergy in which it is excellent. Bleed synergy. However, if I were to create a lineup including weakness synergy and Feis, it would look like this: Jaime Lannister, Latts Carin, Feis, Chris and Arya Stark. Why not Haley? In a 3-way battle between Chris, Arya, and Haley, she would take 3rd place. Chris constantly increases the infantry's defense depending on its losses. Each time Arya Stark uses an active skill, she puts a death marker on the opponent, increasing the damage they suffer, while Haley only has a chance to put on a shield that absorbs damage with each use of the skill. We say no to RNG when it comes to deadly battles because it's too capricious. Of course, we can go further by gradually replacing commanders with better ones. However, then, in my opinion, the first thing to be replaced would be Feis, and finally, changing weakness synergy to bleed synergy. To summarize, Feis is below average in the elite commander category. His skills and stats are, to put it politely, very average. A lot can change with his exclusive weapon, but it won't happen anytime soon, so upgrading him to the max on the spur of the moment is definitely a bad move. So is it useless? And no, it is an alternative for F2P players who need something immediately, but its usefulness is currently at a low level. When I heard it was awakened, I expected it to work with bleed synergy, but with synergy weakness. Unfortunately not. Thank you for today. See you soon.